Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Someone found this video clip of an interview that Mnangagwa gave soon after the 2017 military coup, where he promised many interesting changes. I think it is interesting and it is good that we should revisit it and ask ourselves how many of those promises were ever delivered.
Mnangagwa will name and shame all people who have externalized money if they do not return it by March 2018. Addressing a ZANU-PF Central Committee meeting at the party headquarters in Harare, President Mnangagwa said he will come down hard on corruption. The party will on Friday hold its extraordinary congress in Harare to endorse a Central Committee resolution which catapulted Mnangagwa to the helm of the party following the recall of former President Robert Mugabe.
Out with the old and in with the new, and the man in charge did not waste time, reminding the party's leadership of their responsibility.
It was indeed disheartening as party structures seemed helpless as the cabal pursued its sinister programs, using platforms, structures, and personnel of our party, the interface rallies. The majority of us thought the interface rallies were for mobilizing ZANU-PF. No, it was an agenda.
And a stern warning.
Never again should the Central Committee watch while indiscipline, personalization, and abuse of the party and its structures take root. This should never happen.
Mnangagwa called for peace.
I exhort the party to outgrow the age for vengeance and vindictiveness, so it rebuilds and moves forward around this abiding ethic of mercy and forgiveness. Let us say no to retribution, albeit remaining vigilant against those who might subvert and want to appear to be loyal when indeed they are foxes in sheep's skin.
Well. That was an interesting video, a blast from the past. Many of those promises were never kept, of course. He said zero tolerance to corruption, and that corruption, if it was bad during Mugabe's time, it has gone into overdrive. In the last 8 years, Mnangagwa has been in power. Mnangagwa has allowed corruption to get out of hand. I've often referred to the Al Jazeera documentary. I would strongly recommend to any of you out there who have not had the chance to listen to it, and those who have, to revisit it. Because many of us have heard of corruption, but did not know how it works. When you listen to that documentary, it is an eye-opener. You can see how corruption works. In the documentary, The Gold Mafia, Outer Zero goes into a lot of detail of how it operates, how people like Mnangagwa, who was named in that documentary as #1, and VP Chiwenga was named by one of the gold mafia as Dandahead. They are the godfathers of corruption. These operatives below them are the ones who are doing the serious looting. According to Ultra Zero documentary, Zimbabwe's gold mine per annum is worth $2 billion per annum. 80% of it is being looted. In other words, the state is not benefiting. The individual, the ordinary citizen, is not benefiting. The looters themselves and their handlers are the only ones who are benefiting. 80%, that's $1.6 billion per annum. Many people have wondered, how has Mnangagwa got so incredibly rich? How is it possible that he's able to afford to spend millions of dollars every year on buying cars mostly and giving other gifts, bribes to various people in society? In the 2023 elections alone, Mnangagwa is believed to have spent at least $5 billion from the chicken in and soft drink for the millions of povo who were bussed from one rally to another, to the motorcycles for all the headmen, the pickup trucks for the chiefs, and it scaled up. By the time we got to MPs and senators, $40,000 US. It was given this time as housing loan. The deputy ministers and ministers, $230,000 US. The ministers, $500,000. All the country's judges got US 400,000 housing loan just a few weeks before nomination day. It was all bribes, of course. And it all came from the looting. There is no doubt that the people of Zimbabwe should have known better. By 2017, the people of Zimbabwe should have been smart enough to know that Mnangagwa is a corrupt, incompetent, and murderous thug. Why the people even celebrated his coming into office beggars belief. Mnangagwa was not going to be a Democrat. Let's be perfectly honest about that. Here is the man who was involved, who was at the heart of the Kukurawundi massacre in the 80s, who has been at the heart of all ZANU-PF blatant rigging of elections. He was at the heart of the 2008 electoral coup. And we should have not been surprised to find he was at the heart of the 2017 military coup. For anyone to believe that such a person could be trusted is, to say the least, naive. The question that one has got to ask is, why is it that Zimbabweans have been so gullible, so naive? We are willing to believe anything we are told. 8 years down the line since the military coup, there is no doubt that the country is in a mess. Corruption is in overdrive. Millions of our people are living in abject poverty. And yet, you hear some people even arguing that Mnangagwa should be allowed to stay in office beyond the mandatory 2028. What kind of people are we? It beggars belief. I'll just conclude by letting you hear the rest of that blast from the past, the video clip of Mnangagwa's interviews soon after the 2017 military coup.
A grace period for those who have allegedly stolen from the public purse.
We've given 3 months for those who have taken money out of this country to bring it back. I didn't say that without knowledge. I have a list of who took money out. So, in March, when the period expires, those who have not hidden my moratorium, I will name them and shame them.
Turning to the 2018 elections, Mnangagwa says the elections will go ahead.
The harmonized general elections will be held in 2018 as scheduled. Government will do all its powers to ensure that these elections are credible, free, and fair. These elections are nearer than what we expect.
While the nation waits for the appointment of Mnangagwa's 2 vice presidents, the ZANU-PF leader says he will announce the leader of the party's Women's League tomorrow.
Well, if the truth be told, he did not name and shame all those behind corruption. And one of the main reasons why is because he himself is on the top of that list. Here is Professor Jonathan Moyo telling us who Emmerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa really is.
Are you corrupt?
No, in fact, this is laughable. Seriously laughable. First of all, this is an accusation coming from the most corrupt politicians and public officials in the history of our country. They cannot account or the assets that they have. The richest individual in the Republic of Zimbabwe is Emmerson Mnangagwa. The one person who was responsible for setting up ZANU-PF companies when he was the Secretary for Finance of the ruling party is Emmerson Mnangagwa. There is no cent that comes from those companies, including a bank, including investments in the region, in countries like Namibia and even South Africa. The person who led the plunder of resources, even in foreign countries such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, leading to the United Nations investigating and coming up with a report that is still there, is Emmerson Mnangagwa, along with the military cabal of General Chiwenga, SP Moyo, the person who brought the Chinese to plunder Chiazwa diamond resources for Zimbabwe, up to a point where we have, at the very least, over a period from 2007 to 2014, some 12 to 15 billion dollars in diamond revenue that remains unaccounted for, that went into the pockets of individuals. These people have staged a coup, not just to grab power for the sake of grabbing power, but in order to cover up their corruption. That command agriculture was nothing but a looting scheme.
We cannot pretend that Emmerson Mnangagwa is anything other than a corrupt, incompetent, and murderous thug. And yet, the man has been in power now for 45 years and counting. In 2017, when he gave this interview, many people went out on the street to support the military coup and Mnangagwa. We cannot run away from the fact that we are an ignorant, naive, and very gullible people. We have been easily conned into all manner of idiotic situations. But let me say this. Every day Mnangagwa remains in State House, the people of Zimbabwe must know that they are paying dearly for it. The question then is, how many more years are you going to allow this buffoon to ruin your lives?